You are listening to Train2Win Podcast. This is your host, Greg Emhoff. Welcome to Train2Win Podcast. Today we are fortunate to have Corey Grant, former NFL running back, as our guest, and we're excited to hear about his career and challenges and obstacles. So let's get to it. Corey, we appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I've probably known you for maybe a year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, we see each other. We do some real estate transactions, and I've seen you at the gym.
Yes,
of course, still looking good.
Thank you.
And so let's start when you were little, how you got interested in football, and was that your primary sport?
That was. Started playing when I was 5 years old here in Opelika.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up here. I was playing Pop Warner. I still remember those days. It was 8 o'clock in the morning every Saturday.
Yeah.
And, I think, I got interested just from my dad. Dad played high school, college, and in the NFL for 3 years, and he was actually coaching high school ball.
Oh.
So with him being a coach, and it kind of it was a natural thing for me to fall into, and it just took off from there.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you that. So you answered it for me. I was going to ask you about your dad and what influence he had on your life. And so where did he play college ball?
He played at Alabama State in Montgomery,
Right.
Alabama.
And he got drafted?
He went undrafted also.
Oh, he did?
He played 3 years with the New York Jets.
Oh, awesome. What position?
Running back, fullback.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a little bigger than I was.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So he had some size to him, I guess.
Yeah.
So, of course, that was a big influence, left a big impression on you.
It did.
And did he coach you when you were young, or was he? How old had he finished playing when you were born?
Yes.
Okay.
He was finished playing. When I was born, he was actually coaching at Lafayette.
Okay.
Up the road, Lafayette High School, and he never coached me. None of my Pee Wee league. He didn't coach me high school.
Might be a good thing.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And it was just his influence had a big hand in.
Yeah, he could give you a lot of advice, and especially going to the NFL and what to expect, etc.
Yeah.
So you were a local prodigy here. So you went to Opelika Middle School, Opelika High School?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Opelika High School, was it still 10th, 11th, 12th back then?
It was 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, yeah.
And so did you start playing your 9th grade year for varsity?
Well, no. So I have my 9th grade year, I did have one or two guys on my 9th grade team that moved up to varsity. I was not one of those guys. But my first year on varsity was 10th grade.
So when you started playing Pop Warner, you just kind of fell in love with it? And,
yeah. It was just fun.
Yeah, and you want to be like your dad,
Yeah.
Basically. So, any other sports did you play?
At a younger age, baseball and basketball. Basketball really wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
I was more interested in baseball at one point than football, but got to high school. Well, kind of fast forward a little bit. In high school, my parents said you can only play two sports, and I chose football and track. Yeah. And I started running track in middle school, and played baseball in middle school, but not for the middle school. And when I got to the high school, chose football and track. And
it worked out well. Chose the right sport for sure. So after high school, let's talk a little about your recruiting process and how you handled that, and maybe the stress or the decision making. The pressure, because you're local here. Auburn University's 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
So being a local kid with Alabama and Auburn, and were you recruited by a lot of schools throughout the nation? Or
yes, sir. Had a lot of offers. Had every SEC school offer me except for LSU.
Okay.
And they like the bigger backs, guys 240, 230.
Yeah.
So. But Auburn was actually my first offer.
Was it?
And the second offer was Alabama.
Who recruited you from Auburn?
Auburn, it was so at that time it was Coach Tupperville was there.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then Alabama recruited you as well.
Yes, and from Alabama was Kirby Smarts.
Oh, he was at Alabama then.
Yeah, he was there then.
That's right. What year was that when you?
That was my 11th grade year. Was the end of the beginning of my 11th grade year. I received my offer from Alabama. I meant from Auburn. and then a couple weeks later received it from Alabama. So that would have been 2009.
You're still in 11th grade then?
11th grade, yeah.
So did you make a decision your senior before your senior year, or did you?
I did. And that's kind of goes to the point of, the recruiting and the stress that it brings. Went through my 11th grade year, had a great year, started receiving offers, a lot of attention, and parents, we wanted my senior year to go smooth, academic wise and athletic wise. And they said, look, you need to make a decision before you go into this year. So that summer, right before school started, I made that decision and committed to Alabama.
Yeah, right. As a local Auburn kid.
Yeah.
So did you get a lot of backlash from that, or a lot of criticism, or because there's Alabama fans here as well, for sure, a lot. Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I didn't get a lot. I got a lot of praise about it, and you'll be surprised in this area how many Alabama fans there are.
There are, yeah. So you went to Alabama, and then just kind of take us from there, kind of what transpired to make you readjust maybe your thinking or to transfer to Auburn.
Yeah, so through my recruiting process, actually before I committed, I had a couple people here and there and coaches from other schools even inform me, hey, you go to Alabama, Coach Saban's going to try to convert you to a cornerback.
Corner?
Yeah. My size, I was...
what'd you weigh out of high school?
Out of high school, I was 185. Had great speed. So, and that's what Coach Saban was known for. He would bring in smaller guys who played running back and convert them to a corner. Javier Arenas, you got another example, Diggs, even though he played, I think, receiver. And but those guys had great speed, smaller body frames, and committed, signed, get there, and that's exactly what happens. First year, I'm a running back, and we go into spring training. I get a call, coach wants to see you. Go into his office. He explains to me why he thinks that I can be a better corner than I am running back. At that time, I was open to the idea. I said, okay, coach, we can try it out. I was there for a week. I said, this is not for me.
Yeah.
And at that point, I just realized, with my skill set, and in my athletic ability, I need to be in a spread offense. And that's when I realized, if I want to have a successful collegiate career, I'm going to have to transfer.
And how many years were you at Alabama total?
I was there 1 year.
1 year. So freshman year, and then there wasn't a transfer portal back then, so you had to sit out?
I had to sit out. When I transferred to Auburn, I had to sit out a year.
All year. Yeah, which maybe in the long run helped you.
It did. Honestly, it did. I look back and I honestly believe it helped me. Sitting out that year, having to go to practice every day, and that's what a lot of people don't know. I still had to practice every day.
Yeah.
Knowing that I couldn't play on Saturday.
That's right.
But that year actually helped me grow as a player, as a person, focus on my academics, and just become bigger and stronger. And that from there, it really helped out.
You probably put a lot of muscle and weight on that.
Yeah.
That year, I'm thinking. Yeah. So. Did you go to Coach Saban personally? And
I did. I asked for a meeting, and that meeting was not the best.
Yeah.
He told me in that meeting because rumors had got around that I was possibly going to transfer to Auburn. Which wasn't the case. At first, when that idea came to my mind, I was not going to go to Auburn. I was thinking more like Troy or just like a South Alabama. And Malzahn was having a great year. That was a 2010 year when I was at Alabama. They had just coming off a national championship, so I'm thinking that spread offense is rocking and rolling. It'd be perfect. Yeah. And at the end of the conversation, well, not really conversation, but the process, I was like, I give Auburn a try. But in that meeting, some kind of way, Coach Saban got rumors that I was trying to go to Auburn. He told me in that meeting, I'm not going to release you to Auburn. He said, you can go anywhere else, but if you go to Auburn, you're going to pay for school. But I was fortunate enough my parents were in a good financial position, and we paid for that year's school.
For that year, I was going to ask you that. Yeah.
And then earned a scholarship.
So he wasn't going to release you, though?
No, and he didn't.
He didn't.
And that's the crazy thing, because if he releases me, I still have to sit out a year. But they can put me on scholarship right away.
Right.
If he doesn't release me, I have to pay for school, but I still have to sit out. So it's like, Coach, you're just...
Right. Yeah.
You're just being...
Yeah. Because it's Auburn.
Yeah. And you're just being that type of guy about it, but yeah.
Right. But you got out of it.
Yeah.
So did you contact Malzahn or Auburn, or you just transferred?
Just transferred, did all my transfer paperwork, entered as a regular student. Mm-hmm. They didn't really make me try out because
right.
And I just started workouts and it just worked my way up.
Yeah. And who was there when you, as a running back? Who were
the coach was Coach Looper, Curtis Looper. Mm-hmm. The running backs was Ontario McCaleb, Michael Dyer, Davis Hooper, he's still here locally, and we had Chandler Shakespeare.
And when you say Michael Dyer, you always think of that one play, where he touched the ground.
Yep, it kept going. Yeah,
it kept going. So, did you guys beat Alabama while you were at Auburn, right?
So no, actually,
you didn't.
That's the year that I think we went into halftime.
Oh, that's right. Tuberville's gone.
Chiswick, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And when I was at Alabama, Auburn actually. So I'm at Alabama. Auburn beats Alabama. I go to Auburn, and then Alabama beats Auburn. And the funny thing is too, when I'm at Alabama, my freshman year, Auburn wins the national championship. Mm-hmm. I go to Auburn, Alabama wins the national championship.
So you still had 3 years of eligibility left at Auburn.
Yes.
After you sat out.
Yes.
So Alabama beat you guys all those years?
Except the kick six.
Okay. You were there that year. Okay. Yeah, we all remember that too.
Yeah.
Kick six. So besides your dad, who would you say was a big influence on you growing up?
I would say Coach Jones at the high school. He was my position coach. He was on me every day, him and Coach Blackman. But, Coach Jones was my position coach who I was with daily. And I think, honestly, my dad was a big part when I got home. And my dad didn't really enforce football on me as much as a lot of people think. But Coach Jones, I guess he just saw the potential, and he was on me every day for 3 years.
Yeah.
And, just from football, just being a better person and just, growing my mindset, and it's just I have to give a lot of credit to Coach Jones.
Yeah, that's awesome. We all need that one person besides your family member.
Yeah,
because there's a different dynamic there.
Yeah.
So after Auburn, your senior year, you went undrafted.
Correct.
So tell me your mindset, mentality, kind of perseverance through that process.
That was tough. It wasn't. It was stressful, but at the same time, my agent was still talking to a lot of teams, and we knew even if I wasn't drafted, I would still get a shot somewhere. But at that kind of in that situation to where it's not a big chance that you're going to get drafted. You're not invited to the combine. I wasn't invited to the combine.
I was going to ask you that.
And you got one shot, and that's pro day at Auburn. So. That day was stressful. It went great. It went smooth, but that was a lot of stress because you got one shot to show these guys what you got, and
that's it.
Put it on the table.
Okay, so then you just have to wait.
Yeah.
After that, and then when did you get a phone call?
So it was this was really stressful, but it was like an exciting stressful. I will never forget it. It was 5th round. It was the Arizona Cardinals call. And they said, hey, they called my agent and said, hey, we may take Corey in the 6th round. It was the 5th round. We may take Corey in the 6th. And I was like, okay. And they needed a kick returner. Well, they didn't take me. They ended up taking the kid from, I forgot his name, but he was from UAB. He was a speed guy too, a great kick returner. They took him. And, after that, I think honestly, the first and second day, I didn't even watch it really. Yeah. I just knew. Yeah. I didn't want to stress myself out.
Right.
But that was stressful.
So when they say, I think they call you, so you're thinking, well, that's good. They're going to take me, but then they don't take you.
Yeah.
So then you just wait.
Yeah. So around that 6th round, at the same time as my agent is getting a call from the Cardinals, he's getting calls from other teams also saying, hey, if Corey doesn't get picked in the 6th or 7th round, we're going to still take him as a priority free agent. And so we're like, okay, that's good. And then, at that point, my agent is also explaining to me, like, look, it may be better just to go undrafted because then you get to choose where you get to go. Rather than some guys get chosen in the 6th and 7th round and they may go to a team that's already loaded at a particular position.
That may not make the team anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at that, when you get to choose, you get to go look at the depth chart. Okay, say, in my position, I knew that my key thing was I was going to have to make it on special teams. So we knew Jacksonville didn't have a kick returner, and they needed a lot of help on special teams. So we chose them.
So what's a priority free agent? What's that mean? Is that a guaranteed any?
It's more like a guaranteed signing bonus.
Okay, gotcha.
It's kind of, and you don't have to try out.
Yeah.
A lot of undrafted guys, they have to try out, and priority you don't have to try out. You come right in. You're just not a drafted guy.
Oh, gotcha. But it's kind of the same thing. It's just you didn't go in the top rounds or
correct.
6th round, 7th round. Okay. So how did you end up at Jacksonville?
Just doing some research from my agent. As the draft was going on, that 6th, 7th round, we started looking. Who has what positions does this team need on special teams? How can I benefit this team? And also what team really shows the most interest? Who was calling the most? Who really sounded like they were really being truthful and was going to give me a real opportunity? And Jacksonville seemed like they would, and so we.
Did you hire a trainer or a sports performance guy to help you when you were waiting or to train with, or did you just do it on your own? Or
so I actually trained in D1, D1 facility in Nashville, Tennessee, and I trained with them up until my pro day. And after my pro day, I came to Auburn and trained in Auburn on my own for the rest of the time.
I gotcha. Okay, so you get to you arrive in Jacksonville, and who is the running back or starting running back at the time? Or
the starting running back, so it was kind of iffy. It was kind of funny because they were kind of like they didn't really have a guy. It was a lot going on. They had a lot of older guys.
They got a lot going on today.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So, I don't know what's going on down there. But yeah, they had a lot of older guys. Yeah. And they didn't really have that
they didn't have a stable running back or someone who was consistent.
Correct, yeah.
So you had a shot.
Yeah.
So you were there 4 years.
4 years, yes, sir.
And did you play a lot your first year? Or?
No, my first year I was strictly a special teams guy. Yeah. And, I understood that. And even, practicing, even going through camp, you understand, okay, if I want to make this team, if I want to be beneficial to this team, I got to know my role. And I knew my role was going to be special teams. So that's really what I focus on. And, I didn't play much at all on offense.
So when did your break come for you to get into the running back position?
I would say my second year, my role increased just a little bit. That third year, we got the offense kind of changed, and they saw where they could, implement my style of running, and that's what we did. And that's the same year we actually had a run in the playoffs, and we got beat by the Patriots the game before in the the AFC Championship, right before the Super Bowl.
Okay, so that would have been awesome to get the Super Bowl. Yeah. So, did you get you got hurt your fourth year?
Fourth year, yes, sir.
Fourth year there, and were you playing a lot then? Your fourth
yes,
year? Okay.
I was playing a lot then because we were coming off that third year. Fourth year, every game I had a role on offense.
Yeah.
We had some kind of special package where I could get in the game, and I actually got hurt on offense, which is crazy. Got hurt on a draw play right up the middle. Reggie Ragland from Alabama tackled me, folded my foot up, and
of course he did.
Snapped it in half. Yeah.
He remember those days back at Auburn. So, what was your most productive year at Jacksonville?
I would say my third year.
Third year.
Yeah, that's when we really started to implement and make some changes.
And you had more possessions that year than any other year.
Yes, on offense. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you got injured. And so were you on IR, injury reserve list? Or?
Yes. On IR, and I was on definite IR. We knew I couldn't come back. And
you had surgery?
Yes, had surgery.
So your foot, you had to have the needle, pins put in? Or?
Yeah, I have 2 plates in my foot. So I broke the second, third, and fourth toe. and the second toe was actually shattered into 20 different pieces, and Doc had to put it back together. And so I have a plate on that one and my second one.
Does it bother you today at all?
No.
Yeah.
It's a little stiff sometimes, but it's no pain.
Is there a lot of politics on the NFL football team?
Oh, yeah. It's plenty.
Locker room stuff and
yeah.
Alphas and yeah. I mean, you can see it, but I was just curious, you know.
Oh, yeah. It goes on.
So you got to play the politics too and all this. Yeah. So after your surgery, how long did it take you to heal from?
I would say a full year. I actually tried to come back a little early, and Doc told me, "Look, this is the worst break I ever seen," and he said, "It's going to take you a good full year, maybe more, to really get back."
So did they release you, Jacksonville?
Yeah, well, so I finished my contract. So I had my first contract was 3 years, and then that fourth year was a 1 year deal. And so I finished that contract, and they let me go because they kind of knew the seriousness of the injury.
And then Green Bay picked you up.
Green Bay picked me up. Yep.
And were you able to function as a running back there with your injury?
I was, but I wasn't the same guy.
Yeah.
Even I was training here, but you just can't get that real game experience doing a workout. So then I go there. I'm on the practice field. I'm not the same speed, and I can even see it on film. The coaches can see it on film.
Did you favor it some? Like, did you feel like that? Yeah. Because it's hard, isn't it, when you go back and you have an injury and you want to go full speed, but in your mind it's a little mental. Yeah.
And that was the crazy thing, because I had let myself go to a point to where I was going full speed, but the bones were healed, but the muscles wasn't healed. So when I would cut off my left foot, it was almost like a slight lag of it, exploding out the ground, and you can see it on film, and that's what everybody noticed.
So let me, while you were in college or before that, did you always have a plan? Like, these are my academics, average football player in the NFL, 2 to 3 years, whatever it is, average. So in your mind, did you say, I want to get this degree, or, I got to have something to back up?
Yeah. So when I entered the league, I did not have my degree at the time. I actually came back during the off season, finished, and graduated, got it, and that was more mom. Mom would not
let it go.
Not let it go every time.
You would let it go, but she wasn't gonna let it
go. You gonna come back this summer? Yes, Mom.
Yeah.
So that went on every conversation.
Yeah.
And
so you did it for your mom?
Yeah, did it for mom.
That's what a lot of guys say. I did it for my mom. What'd you get your degree in?
It was education.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
But you never have been a teacher?
No.
So life after football. So you've been out how many years now?
3 years now.
3 years. Was it a hard transition?
It wasn't. Honestly, after high school, it became so much of a business. It's just, I'm not going to say the coaches took away all the fun, but a lot of the fun that you just really enjoyed from high school, it wasn't there anymore. Especially in my situation, because I was a guy to where I had to prove myself every year.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of the things that other guys would get away with, I wouldn't. So, I was doing it from a standpoint of, I know that this could benefit me later down the road and set myself up for the future financially. And I'm not saying every day was a bad day, but it's like you say, play politics and everything else.
So it wasn't like you weren't obsessed with it and this is my life. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do without football?
Oh, no.
Almost sounds like it was a little bit of a relief.
It was.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know this, but my fourth year, the same year I broke my foot, I was thinking about retiring that year. But broke my foot and that happened, so I'm like, I wonder if this happened for a reason.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So after football, you came back here, Opelika, and you reside at Auburn or Opelika?
In Auburn.
Okay. And so then the way we met was I used to work for a company, real estate. And
yes, sir.
You bought some houses from us. So was that your plan, real estate, or just kind of fell in your lap?
Kind of fell in my lap, but at the same time, my dad has had his hand in real estate before, back in the day. And I just knew that once I got out of football, I knew I wanted to invest, but I didn't know what yet. And so once I was done, he kind of brought up the idea, go get you 1 or 2 properties, see how it goes. And I when I was playing, I just said, I want to save my money, and when it's all over, I don't want to work as hard. So, I looked into real estate, and I was like, this would be perfect. The bank, leaving the money in the bank is not all great, but, investing in real estate has been proven over and over to build wealth. So that was my thing.
Yeah, because I remember something you said to me about when you said I didn't want to work. Because I said, you want to wholesale anything? Or you said, no, I just want to buy and hold because I don't want my phone ringing all day.
Yeah.
I don't want to work that hard.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy what I got. Well, that's a good plan.
Yes, sir.
So, it seemed like your parents did a great job. Raised you, and Coach Jones had a big influence on you. Any players or that you keep in contact with today that you became the camaraderie or close friends you had from college or NFL that?
I have a couple players from college. NFL, I would say I have 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Honestly, in the NFL, you got so many egos, and I'm just totally opposite. I'm just a laid back, quiet guy. I just want to go about my day, do what I got to do, and me being around egos, I'm just like.
They want to get prima donna, or like I got to have certain things in my locker.
Yeah, and it's they want to be Mr. Big Shot, be known, social media and all that. And I'm just not like that.
Yeah, well, because a lot of their worth comes from their identity.
Exactly.
Yeah, comes from that.
So I kind of stayed away from them guys.
So it sounds like from your perspective, because when we watch football on TV, you think, oh, that's the life. They're playing a kid's game for millions of dollars.
Exactly.
Right? But we're not seeing the whole picture.
Exactly. Oh, it's a lot of other stuff that goes on that nobody knows.
Yeah, that's right. It's not as easy as it looks or as good as it seems.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. We thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully I'll see you in the gym soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.